Hey everybody, what's going on? What's happening? I'm coming here live and I'm just gonna get straight to it. So we're gonna talk about the street culture, right? We're gonna talk about the street culture and what's going on right now with this whole beef, supposedly, with these rappers. People say that Atlanta got a bad rap because of what's going on in the industry with Young Thug and Gunna and Rallo and Woody and all of these people. Okay. So shout out to the chat, peace to the chat. But let's get to the point. First and foremost, not everybody in the city is rocking with the whole snitching thing. Let's just put it out there. Not everybody's down with the snitching. And two, if we're gonna argue about the street culture going on a state of declining, because the streets ain't dead. The streets is gonna be the streets regardless. The streets is going to be the streets regardless. Now, street credibility is going to die, right? Or the street culture is declining because of social media. Every time you turn around, you'll see a lot of shenanigans going on. The first thing that people will do is either go to World Star, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, which is now known as X. They'll go on there and they'll expose what's going on. People will tell on other people through social media. People will show video footage of incidents that's taking place. You have people that will leak phone calls and post it. Hell, you'll find out about somebody passing away or if they lost their life to gun violence on social media before you even hear it on the news. Hell, the news, you don't even have to go watch the news because guess what? The news is going to look up what is going on social media and they'll verify it. So if you want to find out some information, you want to find out some juice, all you got to do is go on your social media page and you will see a lot of shit. So I would say that the invention of social media have brought about many detriment to people who live in the street life. Social media is the reason why many lose street credibility. Because the moment that you post everything, all your business on a platform, everybody knows. Everybody know what's going on in your life. Everybody know your business. And to be honest, the biggest snitch, the biggest snitch, the biggest snitch is the person that brag about themselves. If you run your mouth and tell somebody else about what you're doing, you done snitched on yourself. Because once you reveal your secret, it's no longer a secret. Once you show people what you're capable of doing and you broadcast it, your action gonna speak for itself. Your action is going to tell on you. Your action is going to reveal things that people need to know about you. So when you look at this Young Thug situation, And just look at him and look at the interviews that he have done so far. It puts you in the mind of Nino Brown. You know how Nino Brown was in New Jack City when he started telling on everybody, speaking on everybody, and he was the leader. That's what Young Thug is giving, that type of impression. So now people question his street credibility. Was he legitimate the whole time? And then if you wonder, he used the symbol, the snake. What's the meaning behind the snake? That's very telling. That's very telling. So I'm saying this to say that people will publicize their life on social media. People will publicize their lives on social media. They live vicariously through social media. Once you put everything in public's eye, it's not just the friends that's following you that's watching your shit. It's not the friends that's following you that's watching your feed or the For You page. Nah, you got the feds that's watching. You got the FBI that's watching. You got the ATF. You got everybody that's looking. And you're making it easier for them to find out who you are. They don't have to go any further. All they got to do is go on social media, type up your name, see if you got a social media page. If they can't get your password or whatever, they'll find a way to get access to it. And all they got to do is use that in the courtroom. So technology has made it so easy that law enforcement ain't got to really do much work. Then the rappers get on there and they start telling. That boy said, we can take this to trial. Then he also said in the lyrics something about that boy's mama house got sprayed up. The moment you say that, you telling on yourself. And Young Thug ain't the only one. Lil Durk told on himself. Look what he got going on. Quando Rondo told on himself. Pooh Shiesty told on himself. And it's a long list of these rappers that put themselves out there. They put themselves out there. And how did they do it? Through social media, through their music. And people always talk about, I live by the code and I'm going to die by the code. No, you're not. Not everybody living by the code and die by the code. If you really want to know somebody's true color, just see how they act during trial. Go to court and see their behavior. That's all you need to know. If you really want to know how somebody is outside the streets, Take them to trial and see how they gonna act. The answer is right in front of your face. See, the streets is a dirty business. Okay. Like I said, the streets is gonna be the streets. It's a dirty business because it's about survival. It's a lot of psychological games that is being played when it comes to the streets. Because everybody is trying to seek out for something. And then the sad part about it is, no matter how loyal you are to a person, you could be the most loyal individual. That person can turn on you. The very same person that you look up to, that you admire, that you respect, can be somebody that turns on you. They can use you for your own personal gain. I mean, for their own personal gain, for their own selfish reasons. And if they see you doing better than them, if you're doing better than them, there's going to be the envy. There's going to be jealousy. I said this before. The street does have codes. The street has code, but everybody don't follow the code to the streets because not everybody's going to honor those codes. There's a saying, there's no honor amongst thieves. There is no honor amongst thieves. Also, humans, they can cooperate with each other or they can compete against each other. And while they're in the midst of cooperating with one another, they're also secretly competing with each other. Think about that. You cooperate with somebody in the streets, right? But at the same time, that person is secretly competing with you without you even knowing. That's how dirty and that's how slick the streets is. When they say you can't trust nobody, you really can't trust too many people. You can't develop a personal relationship with people. It's very few people that are very genuine. Very few people that really give a damn. But outside of that, you can't trust anybody. You can't put your heart into it because that person is going to betray you. They're going to take advantage of you. And oh, don't get to the part about let you and that person beef with each other. And let's say you had an op. That person might turn around, go behind your back and start talking to the ops. And tell them what your location is, what you doing. And they trying to figure out ways how to plot against you. Or they'll work with the law enforcement just so they can get rid of you. Just so they can prey on your downfall. And oh, don't get me started about the relationship with these women. You get into a relationship with these women, right? You get into a relationship with these women. And something goes wrong. Y'all end up breaking up. She gets mad at you. And she starts coming out her mouth saying that I slept with one of your homies. Or she turns around and start talking to one of your homeboys. Or even worse, she might be sleeping with your ops. and telling your ops everything that's going on, but don't realize that she is the pawn in the game to that ops. So that ops is sleeping with her and getting all the information from her. And at the same time, he using her as a pawn. But she going to him, bending by everything. And then when you find out that she's sleeping with your ops, she becomes the traitor. You don't look at her the same because she's a traitor. And a lot of these, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of these women, but certain women are playing a dangerous game on their lives when they try to do some conniving shit to niggas from the streets. Again, certain women playing dangerous games on their lives when they try to do conniving things to guys from the streets. Because you can only get away with doing so much. And the reality is it's gonna backfire on you. Then you get on social media, you posting about, yeah, fuck this nigga, da 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 da. This nigga ain't shit, da 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 da. I fucked his homie, da 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 da. That's why his homeboy did X, Y, and Z. That's why I let his homeboy hit this pussy last night. Or that's why I let his ops hit this pussy last night. It's one thing. It's fucked up when you're sleeping with the homeboy, but it's truly fucked up when you're sleeping with the ops. Because now you done put yourself into a fight, baby girl, that you can't even get yourself out of. You done put yourself in the middle of some bullshit. Now your life is in danger because the man that loved you, he's looking at you as a traitor. And the man that you fucking, he looking at you as a pawn. So it's no winning situation. Then you got them girls in the hood, right? Them girls who got the besties. The besties that they love, that they ride for, they take care of, they look out for. And then the besties turn on them. Because the moment she say no, or the moment she's like, look, man, I don't want to be bothered with that shit. Okay, the bestie turning on you. And what's she gonna do? She either one is gonna rat on you, or two, she gonna sleep with your man to get back at you. Or she gonna try to hook up with somebody that you don't like, be two-faced it, and try to plot on you. And then get on social media and talk about it. Now you see where two niggas, if they beefing with each other, they'll do it through Instagram. They'll do it through YouTube. Or they'll go on podcasts beefing with each other, man. So if they got some issues going on, they gonna talk about each other's dead homies. And then you got people video recording, going to the grave site and vandalizing shit. But then what's so ironic is back in the day, people, and I was coming up, people used to look at you like you was lame because you weren't a part of the street culture, right? Or if you weren't caught up in the street life, they looked at you as being lame. You looked at as a square. But now that you get older and you start to see the fuckery, you'll say, this street shit is lame. This street shit is dead. I mean, it's nothing really cool about being in the streets. It's nothing cool about being in the streets, man. Because to be honest, it's for people who feel like they are at disadvantage, who feel like they are outcasts. When you look up these stories about mafia leaders, right, and how they got their organization started, a lot of them came from a humble beginning. A lot of them came up from an environment where they were picked on, where they were poor, where they were illiterate, where they were put out the house or they was abandoned by their family members. I mean, the stories get really sad. We sit around here and we praise these individuals, right, who have become kingpins, mob leaders. But when you look at their story, man, the shit is just really, it's really sad. It's fucked up. They had a lot of them had a fucked up ass beginning. A lot of them were bullied on as kids. And in order for them to feel like they got to get their power back, get their lick back, they even got involved in gang activities, or they end up bringing weapons to school. They end up fighting. And then from there, they earn some respect. They got involved in the drug gang. And from there, they build a clientele. They build the organization. They had workers around them. So a lot of them had to put on a facade like they got power, right? Just to feel good about themselves. But at the end of the day, if you pull back the layers, there was a void that was there. There was a void. There was an empty space that was not filled. They still were psychologically damaged. So I'm telling you, people got to understand, before the streets bring about physical violence, they're going to use psychological violence, because it's psychological manipulation taking place. It's a psychological thing more than it's a violent thing. Now, it can get violent once that psychological manipulation takes place and is being implemented, right? But outside of being implemented, it's all psychological. So it's psychological, emotional violence, and then there's the physical violence. Psychological, emotional, verbal, then physical. Again, you find very few people that really give a damn about you in the streets. You find very few genuine people. But for the most part, when a person is on survival mode, they don't give a damn about you or the next person. All they care about is their own needs. And they're just using you as a way to get access to what they want. Again, they'll use a person as a way, the next person, to get the access of what they want and what they need. They're not caring about others around them. And then we also got to understand humans' behavior. When we get into studying biology, when you study about adaptation and survival of the fittest, it starts to come into fruition. It starts to make more sense. See, in school, a lot of us did not pay attention to biology like that. But now you get old, you see why biology is very significant. You'll see why ecology is very important. You see why anthropology is very important. And, people are doing the best they can to try to bring some form of healing. They trying to bring some type of cultural foundation to the streets, meaning that they're trying to reform the streets from what it is to bring some type of progress. But it's very challenging because a lot of people are not going to be on that realm. A lot of people are not going to be in that position. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people that's not going to change because change is scary. Changes come with major consequences because if you change your life, that person that you done took advantage of, that person that you did harm to, they not going to forget. They're not going to be as compassionate. They may not care about your religion as far as your spirituality is concerned. They're not going to care about that. They're not going to care about how one day you just all of a sudden decided to become a different person. They're not going to look at that. They're going to remember 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or a year ago, you was the one that walked up to me and tried to take my life. You robbed me. You beat me up. Or whatever heinous activity took place, they're not going to forget. And you just might want to be careful because those people may look for revenge. And then you have those who may forgive you, those who might be very compassionate, but not everybody is very forgiving. So let me go ahead and go to the comments real quick. All right. Someone put, hi, Tiffany. Someone once told me that he thinks that due to the way how street culture has been romanticized through public glorification, he thinks the streets needs to go. What do you think? Well, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. Like I said before, the streets is gonna be the streets. The streets is going to be the streets because of human psychology, humans' behavior. So we could talk about the streets need to be let go. The streets is dead. The streets is going to be the streets. Now, a person's street credibility is going to end up being dead once it gets exposed to the public of who they really are. But the streets is going to be the streets. The streets is going to be the streets regardless. You're going to have people with all type of personalities and messed up way of thinking that's roaming around the streets. You're going to have all kind of people. You're going to have thieves. You're going to have murderers. You're going to have whoever out there. And that's just the reality of it. No, I don't. I don't. Peace, brother. Peace, brother. How you doing? Before the streets, there were just trees, no invaders, colonizing civilization. Mm, There were colonizers, there were invaders, there were humans preying on humans. Yes, there were trees, but there were humans. The moment that organism came into existence, yeah, it was about invaders. Not everybody was lovey-dovey. Not everybody was peaceful. That's not how nature works all the time. See, nature, there is peace and there is chaos. And the streets is a destructive side of nature. Again, the street is a destructive side of nature. It's the chaotic side of nature. That's all the streets is, the chaotic side of nature. So you're going to always have peace. You're going to always have chaos. If you study Hermeticism, right? If you study Hermeticism, there's polarities, which also is known as duality. There's going to always be opposites. Let me show y'all real quick. You can check me out on my social media. I'll post my social media information on in the chat if you want to reach out to me. All right, so in this book, I highly recommend people getting this book. Now, you're going to have to understand the concept of polarity. Watch this. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposite. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truth are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Everything is and isn't at the same time. That's deep. All truth are but half truths, meaning that there are truth in things based on subjectivity, right? But then there is falsehood taking place as well, because everything is not going to be objective. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything. There is a reverse side to every shield. Now, there's some part of the streets where you can find people doing productive things, of course, productive activities. There's a part of the streets where you can come across people who are actually teaching the knowledge. Now let's look at the example like the nation of God's earth, and I like to use them as an example. The foundation of the nation of God's earth was right there in the streets of Harlem. In the streets of Harlem. What the founder did, right? He went out to the streets and reached out to the young people. He reached out to the young people that were lost, that were caught up in the street life. And it was said to be that he actually gambled. You know, while he was gambling, drinking, smoking with them, he was teaching them about the lessons. He was teaching them about the lessons. And he took the lessons, and you can find it in this book, Supreme Wisdom, right? He took the supreme wisdom, he created supreme mathematics, and he was teaching the young people. And they end up becoming what is called the poor righteous teachers. Let me take y'all there. Let me take y'all there. Okay. Now, the information can be found in lesson number 2. All right, which is part of the 120. And it says, who is the 5% in the poor part of the earth? They are the poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teaching of the 10% and are all wise and know who the living God is and teach that the living God is the Son of Man, the supreme being, the black man of Asia, and teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human family of the planet Earth, otherwise known as civilized people. Before that, you had the Nation of Islam that will march in the streets, passing out newspaper to people to get them to come to the mosque, the temples. You have the genres, the black genres that we know of, R&B, hip hop, jazz, blues. They was all founded in the inner cities. So not all aspect of the streets is bad. Not all aspect of it. But for the most part, you gotta be careful. It's dangerous. But anywhere you go can be dangerous. But the streets is dangerous because the streets gonna let you know what they own. The streets is gonna show you what they about, what it consists of. The people in the streets gonna let you know who they are. And they don't really have much to hide unless they want to take advantage of you. So there's good and bad in everything. So you got the bad part of the streets and you got the good part of the streets. But at the end of the day, the streets is going to be the streets. The streets is going to be the streets. You know what they doing, Ronald. You know what they doing. It's self-explanatory. It's self-explanatory. The streets is going to be the streets, regardless. And the streets ain't going nowhere. Yeah, but not just the lessons from the nation of God's earth carried on in the streets, but like I said, The Nation of Islam, the Moorish Zion Temple of America, founded right there in the hood, in the heart of the ghetto. So yeah, let me see. Do homeless people get caught up in the streets or can't you mind your business? It depends on the person's mentality. It depends. Most homeless people get caught up in the streets because that's all they know. That's all they have. That's all they have is the streets. Now, some of these people, their minds is like totally out of this world to where they don't even know where they are. They don't even know who they are. Some of them just don't. They got to the point where they become depressed and they don't care about anything around them. They don't recognize themselves. And then there are those who do mind their business. But again, it depends on the mentality of the individuals. Not all homeless people are the same. I mean, if you can avoid certain things, yeah, you can mind your business. Just walk on the other side. But at the same time, for situational awareness, it's kind of hard to mind your own business when there's things that's happening right in front of you that could possibly put your life in danger. And as I was saying before, because of social media, the business is going to get put out there. There's always going to be somebody recording, taking pictures, and posting things on social media for views, for attention. Now, I want to say this. It's one thing when a person tells a story about their lives just to bring awareness to people. But it's another thing when a person just flat out just start telling on everybody, name dropping people just because they want their reputation back. So it's one thing when people start to tell their own story because they don't went through the process of growth. Just so they can spread the knowledge. But it's another thing when people just start name dropping or just saying anything just so they can build reputation. You gotta know the difference. And when my thought about Young Thug, and there's an interview that he done, I think in his case it's about reputation. It's not about growth. It's not about education. It's not about giving the knowledge and wisdom to the listening audience. Nah, it's about reputation. Well, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay relevant in the public's eye? And how do I keep my credibility alive? That's what it's about. But to be honest, it's all sad and it's all messed up because Ain't nobody winning at the end of the day. Ain't nobody winning. Ain't nobody winning but social media. Peace. Shout out to you. Ain't nobody winning but social media. Oh, I don't know anything about that, bruh. Kevin Gates is Kevin Gates, and he gonna do what he do. But yeah, to be honest, ain't nobody winning. Ain't nobody winning but social media. Cause now you put it out there, it becomes the gossip to other blogs. It get to the shade room, neighborhood talks. What's the other one? I think it's called Jasmine Brand. I forgot what it's called. It's so many of them, right? It gets on these other platforms. Now it become a talk. Oh, such and such did this and did that. Oh, such and such paperwork is on social media. Oh, such and such said this during a phone call that he had with someone and it got leaked on the internet. And it's like you can't do nothing. You can't run from that. Oh, such and such got caught on camera. Oh, he got caught on camera doing this. Oh, it's all on social media. You can't run from it. Because once it's being put out there, that's it. Now people gonna make their own judgment. People gonna speculate that, well, you've been like this all this time. You have no street credibility. You lost it. So once people hear and see what you're doing, that's enough for them to say, well, you ain't got no street credibility, bro. You ain't got no street credibility, sis. Because now all your business is out there on social media. Okay. Okay. I'm reading this comment right here. It should be called solar media instead of social media. The frequency will probably change. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But anyways, you guys, I just wanted to come on here and share my thoughts on this. But yeah, if you talk about the street is declining and street credibility is dead, that's because of social media. That's because of social media, which is why people's street credibility is dead. Why the street seem like it's going on decline when it's really not declining. It's just that now is more exposure to the public because of social media. And social media plays a big factor into that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Thank you all for tuning in, watching. This your girl Tiffany. Until next time, peace and power and elevation be to all of you. You take it easy on yourself. All right. All right then.